Hello and welcome to this last panel discussion of today's conference on SecureIT. Welcome to the ninth edition of Elets SecureIT Summit. We had a very long and very eventful day throughout the course of the day today, starting from 9:45 a.m. onwards. There were very panelist speakers throughout the day. We had people there from Government of India. There were people from the government establishment, police establishment, state establishment, and Government of India. Am I audible?
Yeah,
We can hear you.
now you are
Yeah. So
audible.
now, without taking too much of time, let me welcome all the panelists for the last session of the day. The last session is dedicated to the people who are at the forefront of implementing all the e-governance initiatives of Government of India. SeMT session, raising the bar of e-governance. We are joined by Mr. Sanjay Gadin. He is the head of SeMT, Government of Gujarat. Dr. Abhishek Roy, head of SeMT, West Bengal. Henry Kodsangam, head of SeMT Manipur, Mr. Sunil Kadra, head of SeMT Bihar, and two more panelists will be joining us in due course of time, Mr. Munish Chandar from Haryana SeMT, and Mr. Sohanlal Nautiyal, head of SeMT Odisha. So I'll start from the first speaker, Dr. Abhishek Roy. Dr. Abhishek Roy will give us his perspective about the e-governance initiatives in the state of West Bengal. Dr. Abhishek Roy, please.
Yeah, a very good evening to all the panelists and all the speakers. Thanks for inviting me for this SecureIT Summit. So I'm really pleased to share my experiences. So regarding e-governance, I would like to state here that the most important factor is GPR. And we always think e-governance means we need to invest lakhs of crores of rupees, budgeting, all this are there. But there are few things where even by spending few hundreds of rupees, I can say, to start with, it may look funny. But with small GPRs, lot of big achievements can be made. I'll give an example with respect to this traffic challan, this citation challans. So initially, we used to get a letter after 6 months that, okay, on such and such day, you have violated some traffic norms and you've been fined. And everyone used to abuse the police that I was not there at that point of time and all these things. Because the earlier process was that the constables at the signals used to note down the vehicle number. They used to maintain a diary which at the end of the month goes to the traffic headquarters. They used to collate and then book the cases, and they used to send a letter, and which used to normally come at around 6 months or 8 months of period of time. So what we did, we started with a small thing. We just gave them a normal hand phone. I'm talking about very long in the years of 2011 and 12, when mobile governance was basically with respect to SMS, pull-based and post-based SMSs only. Android apps were also very rare at that point of time. So we just gave them a mobile handset with an SMS pack, told them just send an SMS in a structured format. With that, with the structured format, it was coming to our server, and by the time you cross the next signal, you will be getting an SMS that, okay, you have been booked for 100 rupees or 500 rupees for violating such and such crime. So this way, you are basically intimating the violator in real time, and the main idea of police is not to earn money. The main idea of policing is to bring down the accidents by basically maintaining the traffics and other things. So the moment you get an SMS that you violated a crime or you violated a traffic rule in the last signal, you will be more cautious. So the policing is more with respect to bringing down the crime and the penalties and all these things. It's not with respect to basically bringing down the money and all. So this is the way also, by spending just few hundred of rupees and just structuring those this SMSs in a structured format, we can also do e-governance. So we have done similar types of small things. During the Nirvaya rape case, we just started one SMS-based eve teasing control mechanism, which was a big success at that point of time. So someone was sending an SMS from the road wherever there was an issue, and we have planned it at the back end that it will be transferred to the nearest available policeman, so that they can take an action in the real time. It was the real time. In the other way, someone will call by dialing 100, will go to the control room. They'll again call by the time the crime has already been made. So these are small things which matters a lot, but it costs really a penny. Howrah railway station, you must have, those who have visited Kolkata must have seen how difficult it is to get a taxi there. So then the government started with the prepaid taxi booth. Even in the prepaid taxi booth, there were basically long queues, people standing there in the queue to book a taxi. Taxis were also there, but they will not go and take passengers from prepaid taxi booth. They will go to the platform, try to manipulate the newcomers and charge 3 times, 4 times. So what we simply in 2011 we placed some RFID tags on the windshield of the taxis, and we placed RFID reader at the Howrah railway station. By this, we are able to capture the inventory, basically in and out movement of the taxis. So any taxi who is entering into Howrah railway station to drop someone, and if he is willing to take a passenger, we are not forcing them to take a passenger, but if he is willing to take a passenger from the Howrah railway station, he will be bound to take a system generated passenger. So by this way, we basically solved the long queue of getting a prepaid taxi book. Earlier, the process was that you need to stand in 3 queues to get a taxi. First, to book the taxi. Second, to get the taxi allocated, and third, to map the taxi number and the receipt number for payment purpose. And then the taxi, we went for a 360-degree study. Taxi drivers also used to speak about no, there's a manipulating allotment. Someone is getting a very good route. We are getting a smaller route and all these things. So what we did, we just play small, and that costs around 15 rupees per taxi. And in fact, taxi drivers were asked to pay, and they were ready to pay this because prepaid taxi fares are higher than the normal taxi fares. So by paying 15 rupees, everything is structured now with one taxi, one queue only. You'll be getting the taxi because you have the inventory. They allocate everything in a first in, first out mode. Then we started with e-taxi and m-taxi. These are small things we did in 2011 and all. The third thing which I would like to point out is scalability. So whatever we develop across the SeMTs across the country, so we need to basically replicate instead of again going and then asking for a fresh innovation or fresh development. It's always better to make an application which is scalable and replicate it in other states and other places. This time during Durga Puja, our SCM announced on 30th of September that all the Durga Puja permissions will be online. And we had made an application for a Vidhannagar municipal, this Vidhannagar Police Commissariat. An application was made, and within 2 days we replicated it across the state. So similar things, not Durga Puja, any other thing which can be replicated across the state, it should be replicated in a very simple way. Now we have started with one application where this FASTag things is there already in the toll plazas and all. So with the FASTag, normally all around 99% of vehicles now have FASTag tags for this for movement to the toll plazas and all. We are using the same technology for contactless parking in Newtown. Same, everything is already installed, everything is there. We are just installing one reader to read the vehicles in and out time. We are maintaining the time, and by the time you go out of the parking place, your money will be deducted directly from the systems. So these are small innovations we can try and use and replicate wherever things are there. So this traffic citation and everything, these are very small things. Now it has evolved to a very bigger arena. We have taken it to a POS-based application where we are basically prosecuting them on the road. So when we started with the online on the spot prosecution, the people are asked to pay the fine on the spot by a credit card or debit card. So then what we found that mostly this commercial vehicle owners are not interested in paying. They used to say our owner will take it up. We are not bothered about paying and all. Then we started with a remote pay option. It's a simple solution. If the vehicle is caught up, the driver is supposed to give the owner's mobile number. We are keying in the mobile number. The owner is getting a SMS. Through an SMS, they are clicking on the link and they are paying it, and in the real time, the vehicle is allowed to move away. So the owners are also happy. So now we are taking all those data because we have the entire accident data, entire prosecution data with timestamp and photograph. So we are taking it forward to basically for a AI based engine where we'll try to predict the accidents and we'll try to bring down the the road fatalities by using those data. Basically, we are trying to come up with a Google map wherein the way Google nowadays says about that this road is 10 minutes faster or 5 minutes slower, we'll be telling that this road is basically 10 minutes 10% safer or this is 20% safer. This is the way, this is the planning which we're trying to do in the next few years. We are also we also started with the doctors. We also started small thing of a voice based prescription. So basically everyone was speaking about genetic medicine and everything and all EHR and everything. This should come only when the data is there, and that too is structured data. As of now, doctors write prescriptions and they write it on a basically paper which no one can understand except his P or the chemist. And just scanning those data, nowadays we can see when you go to big hospitals, they scan that particular prescription, but that will not help unless we have those data in a structured format. It's of no use. So then we started with the e-prescription thing in our hospitals. But then doctors started saying that we don't have time to type in the e-prescription system. We'll by the time we type prescription, we'll see 2-3 patients. And since the doctor-patient ratio is very bad in the country, so we then came out with a drop-down based mechanism. With a drop-down based mechanism, they used to just they used to define all those things they normally prescribe. 98% are available. They can choose and drop down and do the things. Then also they were not happy. So then we started with a voice-based e-prescription. So now doctors are speaking and prescriptions are getting generated in real time. So we are running successfully similar things in our oncology department where we had that infrastructure of AC and everything. So we were very well replicating it to all the OPDs. We have tested it in one of the biggest hospital, SSKM, gastro department and all. So these are the ways we can take it forward. This all from my side. Any specific questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, Dr.
I'm audible?
Abhishek. Yeah, you're audible. In fact, I was on mute.
Yeah.
Thank you for the insightful talk. Questions we'll be taking together at the end of the panel discussion. We'll be having the views of rest of the panelists before that, so that we can have collective questions. And thank you for giving us an insight of how SeMT in West Bengal has been making the lives of citizens simpler with each passing day, whether it is transport sector or the health sector or any other sectors which you have mentioned. So I wanted to inform that we have just been joined by Mr. Sohan Lal Nautiyal. He is head of SeMT Odisha. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Sohan Lal Nautiyal. Mr. Sohan Lal Nautiyal, I would request you to please put on your video. So now I would request Mr. Sanjay Kadin to give his perspective of SeMT activities in the state of Gujarat. SeMT is the frontal organization for implementing all the IT and e-governance initiatives of government of India. And right from conceptualization of the projects to actual implementation of the projects, SeMT people, they are very trained professionals, and they are very aptly handling all their field of work. So I'll request Mr. Sanjay Gadin, head SeMT, to give us a brief overview of SeMT activities in the state of Gujarat. Mr. Gadin, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Raji. And it is my privilege that today evening I am with you. And particularly, I'm thankful to SecureIT for giving me this opportunity. Uh, I will give you the broad overview, actually, how we are taking up the many facets of e-governance, or in a simpler word, if we say, application of information technology and communication technology for the purpose of the common masses. Uh, Basically, our dimensions are: one is infrastructure, another is making the government more smarter with the time, and third is to have the citizen centricity, uh, and fourth is balance between the urban and the rural areas, and fifth one is to address the sectoral development and to keep that pace of sectoral development along with the technology advancements. So these are the broad five things where we are basically reviewing and seeing that it should all be coherence if we talk about the success in the state. So let's, if I will talk about the infrastructure and the rural urban at a same level, then beginning from 2018, we realized this that without having the proper connectivity feed to the villages, it is not possible to roll out something at a satisfaction of the citizens at large. Yes, we can have some programs, we can have some high think tanks, and that actually I realized in past 20 years that we can think something, but if really we want to bring something to the feel in the public, then something is different and something stable is to be provided. It cannot be a simple a talk and some kind of program which start from the secretariat and to reach up to the district level and then the below district tehsil level. No, it will not serve the purpose because our 80% people are below tehsil headquarter level. So we took this ambitious project program of BharatNet, and in a short span of 18 months, number one issue we resolved, and that is that our gram panchayat are now directly straight connected like a New York kind of connectivity, Bombay kind, Mumbai kind of connectivity, Delhi kind of connectivity, Gandhinagar or for say Bangalore kind of connectivity, infrastructure at rural area. Fiber is there. So we resolve this first issue. The information technology started in the Gujarat from 2001 onwards in a big way, but still we were facing such kind of issues. So we took around this many of years to think and to terminate that yes, this issue we have to fix, otherwise nothing will move. Whatever we'll plan, whatever advancement we'll plan, nothing will work out. That was our simple belief. And that is my advice to the everyone also, that they will have to take this agenda, that they cannot consider like having the roads and having the water, then having the electricity will serve the purpose, because today most of the people or common citizens are basically information centric and they need something, they want the touch with the government. And again, having this COVID, after having this infrastructure, and now with the COVID, this that great threat of this COVID, we are converting into an opportunity as far as the information technology, digitization in the government is concerned. So one chapter is over, that is infrastructure. Now, second chapter, I am coming out about the how to bridge the gap between the urban and rural area. Here, our focus is completely now towards the rural part of this thing, because in absence of connectivity we were not pushing that agenda. We were silent and we were just sitting and watching. Lot many people are talking about CSC and it will happen and this happen, but we don't want to run the programs with the half-hearted way where tomorrow we will struggle and people will, government will have to see the wrong face to the citizens. No, we don't want. So we stopped, we hold ourselves and we waited for that kind of thing. And with that, then now having this connectivity, now we are bringing the digital interface. And if we are talking about the digital interface, then it is not simple the website which will open and some mobile application will work. No, it is the 100% physical assisted counters, having the proper business process re-engineering. All forms were minimized, whatever the possible, not a single field which has no value in the thing when you are asking to citizens. So we ensure that each and every field must be removed if it has no relevance. We removed all the documents which are unnecessary being introduced at a local level and bring them at a standard level. So that also did. So means soft touch and the business process re-engineering, and with this 100% that service will be rolled out. So we launched one month back only the digital Seva Setu kind of program across the 7,000 districts, 7,000 sorry villages and to run in a proper manner. So here we have rolled out around 50 services. Again, I tell, we were having the digitized services from 2008. We were running the services through the tehsil headquarter since 2011. Everything was there, but we hold ourselves, and now we are pushing this agenda quite fast, and we are getting because the people and in the government sector also decide that there should be a soft interface in between the public and government, so that there would be virus kind of thing also can be stopped to spread. So, so this is the PPR and the interface. Now, third aspect within the rural area, we are making a local area network of all the offices resided in the vicinity of that village completely, so that they will have the fundamental all kind of facility which are available in my secretariat, available to my chief minister, available to my senior officers, the department. Same kind of local area network is available in the village and connected fiber to the my Gandhinagar headquarter. So that solves all the problem of the connected government kind of thing. Now, the moment I have the that kind of connectivity, so now our immediate priority is to roll out the agriculture advisory, health, telemedicine. Yes, telemedicine we started in 5 years back, but definitely it will not work if you don't have the connectivity. So now that is there. So that telemedicine, then your quality of education, so all content. So with this, now I tell that where all in sectors we are moving. So let's see that in a water resources department. Now we are planning the water resources department, water flow meters. So our aim is not to provide the consumer the bills, but our aim is to that water is reached or 24/7 water for all the villages. That actually is our ambition level. And this is supported by the now technology that at each distribution level, we want to put that particular water flow meters. So it will work. So now you imagine that the vision is to have the 24/7 water, but to review at a district level and at a secretariat level, then there should be distribution kind of logic and maps and also. So that thing we are pushing on that level. So that is of the water resources department. Then agriculture, we want that there should be a good kind of advisory to our farmers. It is not weather advisory. Weather advisory one can see on the TV. On the information advisory, one can see on the mobile app. But if it is an interactive kind of telemedicine kind of thing in the agriculture sector, then we are thinking about the doctor of agriculture kind of thing in the villages, and that is stuff. So that agenda we are pushing now towards the agriculture side. Uh, then in the transport, there is a driving tracks and this thing, all modernization, which is happening is everywhere. So we are also putting it and working. On education, we are providing all the kind of modern equipments and the contents and these things. And now with this enablement of connected, that will reach to the last mile of our people. And in industry, there is ease of business kind of thing, and everything which is possible as a single window. And the vibrant Gujarat was our vision, and that we are fulfilling at that level. And food and civil supplies, then the ration and this kind of thing, all is a completely digital workflow for our people sitting at villages at taluka level, and provide them the citizen a foolproof food and supply mechanism system in this place. And so through social justice empowerment, all kind of certificates, pensions, and this kind of thing, again as a bouquet to this digital village and that kind of thing. So first I talked about the infrastructure, then the business process reengineering, along with the rural kind of a push. Then I talked about the sectoral approach from the top of this thing, reaching to the last mile of the people. And now I am coming out to the platform kind of approach from the central thinking. So we have built the DBT platform at a state level. Then we have built the surveillance platform in the entire state. Surveillance means the traffic and policing and that kind of thing. If any person is moving from entry exit of this any vehicle and this thing, then we have that at least not of that thing that yes we are here. So there would be fear in the public to even committing some crime and that kind of thing. So state level. We are not pushing anything at a smaller level or at a fragmented level. It's the entire state level. So that actually is the vision is that to give the safety to all the citizens or all the people. So here, what is possible through technology? Yes, you can provide only the surveillance kind of thing, not for to check their privacy in this thing, but to bring a system in the place where if something happens, easily we can have the investigation and come out with this kind of thing. And then financial system 2.0 wave, all government financial system is integrated, and this that actually we are pushing. Then integrated Sachivalaya system for all the files and the letters and these kind of things. Again, the 2.0 journey, I will say, that we are doing. And now we are moving towards a single PABX system in our Gujarat. All the Tehsil or Gram Panchayat will have the single PABX system. We'll dial only 5-6 numbers and it will reach to that kind of thing. And again, same connectivity path of the Swan and this thing. So Swan we have multiplied with the 20 times, and now we are going to have the infinite time because having the advent of the BharatNet and this kind of thing. So we are, in a simple word, that yes, we are taking up the BPR in our highest priority. Rural people are our highest priority. Smart cities, already we have done it, and we understand the value of the functioning in the government, data in the government, motion in the government. That is that variety and velocity and the volume. That thing we have to deal it. Variety, velocity, and then the volume. All these things we are planning, and soon we are in the learning curve. And I'm not talking about today about the artificial intelligence and the elimination or some bringing the affidavit kind of system in the government, the public. That is also we are doing, and that key transformational aspect we have taken the approval of our honorable chief minister, and soon we are going to launch the electronic affidavit kind of system. So that it's very easy for the people this thing. So thank you. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Gajan. Well said. Variety, veracity, and volume. So that speaks about the guiding principles of the SeMT activities in the state of Gujarat. And very presently, I am surprised that you have been able to take the BharatNet to all the villages of Gujarat. So quite a feat, because as you rightly said, that the digital divide between the urban and rural Bharat and India. So unless we bridge this digital divide, no amount of e-governance initiatives are actually going to work on the field. And this is the beauty of e-governance, that the last man on the counter is taken care of through the e-governance initiatives. And that can only be possible if we create the right type of infrastructure, as you rightly mentioned, in the rural upcountry locations. Whether it is the business process re-engineering, wherein you talked about how you overall entire process to which the business used to be conducted earlier, or you talked about the phasing out of the unnecessary paperwork, which of course a common man often sees this as a unnecessary harassment. Or you talk of establishment of land at level. So quite well said and well presented. So now we move on to this very interesting discussion of the Digital India movement, the people who are the force behind implementation of the Digital India programs of Government of India at the field level. I move on and take the discussions to now Manipur. We have with us Mr. Henry Bam. He is the head of SeMT Manipur. Over to you, Mr. Henry.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me in this session before. And this topic is all about raising the bar for e-governance by the SeMT. Every state has innovated in different ways, and it's like that. We also trying to create an ecosystem here where we can have all the system connected and give a better service to the citizen. In this regard, I just want to mention few of the stuff that we are doing here in Manipur in terms of e-governance. The first of all, the Sanjay Garden has stretched on the connectivity. We are also stretching on the connectivity a lot. We are trying to touch the connectivity from to all the nook in the corner. We have around 2,500 block level in Manipur, and we are trying to provide all the 4G connectivity in the last mile because connectivity is very important when we want to give the governance to the citizen. And we're also trying to bring that all the connectivity to the panchayat level, and we're also targeting to provide the good connectivity to the Anganwadi and the physical and the primary health education department in across the nook and the corner. We have a challenge out here because of because of the kind of topography and the hilly areas. So we need to erect a lot of towers. About 4 to 5 months ago, we have around 850 towers all spread across the state. But under the guidance of the leadership from the Chief Secretary and the Minister and the Chief Minister, we are trying to push the target to 1,500 tower across the state, so that we will be able to connect all the locations to the internet connectivity. In this regard, we are also tying up with a lot of the service provider, ranging from the Geo and the Airtel and Vodafone, to erect the tower. We also do it in a very methodological way, in where we do an analysis about using the latitude and longitude. Where are the towers and the peoples are concentrated and all, and we are trying to erect the tower in the place where the connectivity is not there. This is the first that we are trying, and every month we have a meeting on 15th or 16th of the month by the Chief Secretary to see the progress of this connectivity, because connectivity is very important for the services to be reached to the end user or the citizen. And using this connectivity, what we are trying to do is that we want to provide all the business, all the direct benefit schemes to the end user directly. So what we are trying to is that at the same time, we are also trying to bring the bank or the business correspondence to the remote places, because if we are releasing a lot of DPTL scheme, and if the villages are not able to have the benefit of that, and there's no point, because there are some villages we have only 10 home or 10 house, and there are only around 100 people. The private banks are not able to start any business around, because they are not getting any benefit out of it. So what we are trying to do is that to bring the business correspondence or the banking correspondence to this location, so that at least they can withdraw the money from the account. So in this regard, we are trying to push all the CSC. We have around 270 the CSC to be converted into business correspondence, so that at least they can withdraw their money or the scheme from their location without traveling to any bank. We are also trying to push to convert the private, like Airtel Bank, to be converted into a BC, so that the citizen can withdraw their benefit from directly. So this is the very important step we are going to converting the various the CSC and the private party to create or to provide the banking systems to the remote area. And the other things that the government is also trying to bring more accountability and transparency to reduce the corruption by introducing the e-office here. Recently, the government of Manipur has introduced the e-office, where there will be no movement of physical file across the department, and there will be paperless. And the dictum has been already done that by November that there will be no paperless, and almost 75 department has been enrolled in this paperless, so which will provide the better accountability to the providing the government service to the citizen. One thing I would also like to focus that we are more on the handicrafts and handloom, because most of the people are artisans or weavers. So the handloom and the commerce and textile, along with the IT, what we are planning to give is that we provide a platform like the Amazon exclusively for the handicraft. And what is the main purpose of this is that we create a main platform, and then we will enroll. We are using the combination of the handloom and textile department with the IT. the various artisans that which are producing the handicrafts and handloom activities in the remote areas, but they do not have any exposure to technology. We enroll them, then we enroll them in this in the particular platform, and then in turn this platform will link with the gems so that they can sell on the gem platform too. And then we also trying to enable the digital payment gateway so that the people can buy and sell from this platform. And then in the currently, we are also trying to target not just the citizens. We are also trying to push to provide a better ease of business to the investor who comes to the state of Manipur and want to start any industry or any factories. So what we are trying to is that we are trying to create a single window clearance systems where there will be a simple workflow, and then an investor or any party who want to set up a business in Manipur will apply to a single in a single platform, and then all the permission that is required for running that the business can be taken care from a centralized place. We are also trying to introduce the centralized randomization inspection systems where a lot of departments like the Pollution Control Board and then Mahud, they used to go for inspection to the various places, so that we are trying to streamline in such a way that whether they are doing the audit on time, or whether they are doing in a very religious ways, or they are doing in the proper procedures. And then we can also trying to streamline the business processes under the umbrella of ease of business, and we are moving ahead with that. And one more very interesting things that the government has done here, obviously, in terms of IT, is a lot of DBTL schemes are there, and it's not able to reach to the ultimate people in the village. So we have, under the guidance of the Chief Minister, the state has created the Go to Village, which means is that the people who are at the village at a location will need to have the direct benefits of whatever the scheme the government is providing. So it's going to the village, and the connection is happening directly to the village people to get a benefit transfer. On the other front, as the emerging technology comes in, we are also starting one innovation hub. In this innovation hub, what we are planning to do is we'll create some the place in our software technology park, and then we will create. Initially, we are planning to create 3 labs: one in IoT, another is in the artificial intelligence, and another one is in the drone, so that people can come there and then experiment it using the infrastructure provided by the state. This is the new the stuff that we are planning to do. And lastly, what I want to highlight out here is this e-governance is not just about IT. There is a lot of things involved in that. We need to have the good leadership, because the leadership has to have a vision, and unfortunately, we have a good leadership at this moment to lead and to have a vision that we need to have a vision to implement all the business scheme. And then we have the need is that understanding of the technology which is coming, and then keeping this leadership technology and the architecture, we are just trying to bring all the services of the state as well as the central to the finally the end user. This is the brief the work which is currently going on, besides the other like DigiLocker and then promoting the digital payment. And this is what we are trying in Manipur as of now. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. Yes, you are right that the best of the best schemes or best of the best projects, they fail sometime to take off the ground because of lack of able leadership. So it's heartening to know that the state of Manipur is presently in the able leadership and taking the e-governance initiatives to the next level. Myself, being from a hill state, I can understand the pains and agony of the topography of the hill region, that, as mentioned, that 10 houses on this hilltop and another 10 houses on that hilltop, and a nightmare for the government agencies to create infrastructure at both the places. The economies of the scale just don't fit in as far as development of the hills is concerned. But yes, there is saying that when the going is tough, the tough gets going. Uh, we are sure that the e-governance initiatives of the government of India will reap much richer harvest in the northeastern states, particularly in your state of Manipur. Thank you so much. And now we move on. We move on and take the discussion to. I'll just see if Mr. Nautiyal is there because his video is off. Mr. Sohanlal Nautiyal, am I audible to you?
Yeah, I'm audible.
Okay, thank you.
I'm able to
Yeah,
hear you.
if it would be
Okay.
better if video because
Yeah,
now
only
we would like to hear
okay.
the Odisha's perspective, the initiatives, key schemes being done in the state of Odisha.
Sure. Yeah. So I think I have
Okay.
some problem in video. But I can go ahead with the discussion. It's my privilege to be part of this uh, discussion. So I'm Sohan. I'm part of Odisha, and as part of the e-governance perspective, and our main agenda across Odisha is one of the thing is that 5T mantra. So what exactly is 5T is the time, technology, team, transparency, and transformation. So based on this 5T mantra, where we have various departments we are working more on this 5T mantra, and as part of SeMT, we are focusing more providing the technology solution for various initiatives across Odisha. So one of the things which is the infrastructure perspective, which is very important. For the infrastructure perspective, we have BharatNet. We have already laid down fiber network, no, at across Bhubaneswar, and trying to expand it significantly so that the connectivity is one of the key things which helps no to provide most of the solutions. Like it could be the pandemic solution as well, because during this period, the internet is one of the key things. Okay, so that's the infrastructure perspective, and apart from that, the various technologies which we have used across for during this pandemic as well as to ensure that things are in control, such as like we have very good state dashboard, which is have a very good analytics skills, which was developed based on certain aspects of recent AI tactics, which gives the clear picture of the pandemic situation across the state, and it also provides the details about in India and so on and so forth. So were awarded for that as well, and one of the keys the state across providing the reporting on the pandemic situation. So apart from that, the testing perspective also, if you see, we have we have crossed 3 million mark or the testing part as well. So that's one of the key things of ensuring that no during this pandemic things are taken care. That is part of the one of the thing. Then apart from that. We have the key technologies which we have implemented in one of that is ePass. Is the for Secretariat, is specifically considering the aspect that how exactly we could keep track of the visitors coming to the Secretary, and providing the pass online, and keeping track of the visitor. And so that's how one of the key thing where we have implemented, and going forward also we are planning to have here AI technique, where we are AI and IoT technique is being used for tracking of the employees or visitors as well as the vehicle getting into the premises. And when no, so that's one of the framework which is being planned and already part of the thing which has been implemented as part of the AI perspective. And apart from that, for citizen perspective, like e-governance perspective, we have a single window for which is already planned and which might be rolled out at any point of time. And so around more than 100, near to 100 services, so we are going to implement across Odisha, where exactly the citizen could use only single window, that is Odisha One portal, for accessing any of these services. So with citizen need not look into or the different website for the type of services which is provided by the Odisha government. So that's the another thing, and one of the key thing which is happening. And we are coming out with the CSC 3.0, and again very shortly, where again citizen will be provided the services through CSC centers across. So apart from that, we have key one of the key things like e-office. We have OSWAS workflow management system for the it is similar to e-office. So that is across district and across directorates. We are going to implement this. Apart from that, main key thing during this pandemic is how exactly we could enable citizen or employees or anyone to use the online facility. So that's one of the key things which under the guidance of our IT secretary, we have ensured that all the employees are given permissions, and they have OSWAS connectivity, and that as well as they have the VC connectivity is provided, so that VPN connectivity, the work from home was significantly increased across the employees as well, so that this could help. Will not stop the services, but there is a continuation of the work and going. So that was one of the key thing as part of this pandemic situation. The other thing is since Odisha is one of the thing like where we have disaster management system very no, actually across because of we keep facing different no, disaster things no like it could be because of funny or other things. So in that considering because of this experience, we have ensured that we have a proper alert management system where the proper information is provided to the citizen at different key points. So apart from that, we have a Mosaka application for citizen perspective. Well, and then investment perspective, we are encouraging the investors from outside to invest at Odisha. And one of apart from IT and ITS, we are encouraging people to invest as part of ESDM. We have a lab as well for the ESDM perspective. Okay, so that's the quick no, update from my end from Odisha perspective. And there are a lot of initiatives happening, and no, as part of the 5T mantra under our no, CM, Honorable CM guidance. So that's yeah. Unfortunately, I was infected by COVID last week, so but slowly recovering. Yeah, so that's another thing. How exactly we are using the call center, and because these are also part of our team getting involved as part of this the call center the registration part, and how more number of inbound and outbounds even because during this situation, even I have got number of calls from the no from the call center about my health. So what I mean to say is, so all these things has got implemented in during this COVID situation. So that is it from my end. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Notial, and hats off to you that despite undergoing the COVID positivity, you are still on duty and you are still at the forefront of your work. So that speaks volumes about your professionalism. Thank you so much for putting Odisha perspective here. You mentioned about 5 T's: the time, technology, team, transformation, and one T I forgotten. What is that T?
Transparency, teamwork, time,
Yeah, time, technology, team, transformation.
team, transparency, teamwork.
Yes, yes. So these are the guiding mantra given by the Odisha Chief Minister Shri Naveen Patnaik ji. So a lot of things you mentioned about whether it is e-office or e-passes in the secretariat, or single window for around 100 services in the state of Odisha, or disaster management. Yes, you are right that Odisha had a very unfortunate, but at the same time, a very rich experience of handling its disasters very well. And we have seen that with each passing year, the expertise and experience of the state government is increasing day by day in handling the natural disasters. So there also you are implementing the e-governance initiatives, as also the encouraging investments in the state of Odisha. So thank you, Mr. Notial, and thank you once again for joining this panel, despite of the fact that you are not keeping too well. But once again, thank you so much. We move on. Now we move on to the hot state of Bihar, which is in news these days for the assembly elections. So my thanks to Mr. Sunil Kadra for taking time out despite being in a very busy election schedule. I hope so that he's not campaigning himself, but yes, still being a government employee, there are a lot of work to do. So thank you for joining, and let's hear from you your state of Bihar's initiatives in implementing the e-governance initiatives. Mr. Sunil Kadra, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mishra, and it's been an opportunity and privilege to be part of this discussion today. Okay, it's always a challenge to speak in the last. Most of the points have been covered by my friends from different states. So I would like to avoid or repeating the same points, but I would like to add some more things which probably we have been doing in Bihar. One, every state have their own challenges, and we did have our own. In terms of the e-governance, Bihar started adopting to e-governance sometime from 2010 onwards. The most important thing we learned in our first phase was we need connectivity and stable power. So stable power was a big challenge. We planned things. We put up a lot of routers and switches to the village or panchayat level, and then we realized that things are failing because even though power was there, but it was not stable in terms of the kind of power which an electronic equipment wants. So when we talk about e-governance and we are putting all these electronic things, so this was one of the major challenge, and slowly we improved upon it, and we brought in proper earthing, and we brought in terms of reliability, we brought in solar equipment so that we have power and a continuous power so that things do not go down when it is required the most. Having said that, our focus has been on service delivery. So whatever we do, we talk or we think in terms of delivering service, whether it is a G2G service or a G2C service. So even when we have to deliver service within the government, we take it seriously. Because when the government people get good service within themselves, they have a better adoption to that technology and better adoption to the E part of the technology, and then they propagate it further to the citizens when they in turn give service to the citizens of the state. IT department in general has been working as an enabler to technology for all the various other departments. So we consider ourselves as part of, you can say, like in corporate you have organization which runs the business or main transactions, and IT department enables or helps the main business to run. So that's how we our thought process goes. So what we do is, okay, let's say we have a department which has to give any service to the citizens, or which has to give a service to the government people itself. So we go and talk to them, and we try and understand their issues, problems, and then we give them a solution in terms of enabling the technology. So we, in general, we are working in that way. Our focus mainly is in, you can say, in three areas in terms of the e-governance. One is improving the infrastructure and providing common infrastructure to the state government, whether it is within the offices of the state, or finally delivery to the citizens, to the lowest level of the village. Next, another point, okay, I'm talking about the infrastructure, and then we are talking about applications, and the third and the most important is the service delivery. And when we talk about these components or these pillars, we talk about reliability when we are talking about infrastructure. So reliability comes, we have a very stable state data center, which is hosting almost like 90% of the applications which are provided by the government, within the government. There are few applications which are still hosted outside on private cloud or places other than that. But that was because we actually exhausted all our space within the data center. So we are building a new data center, which because of COVID has got delayed by a little bit, but we expect to make it operational by August 21. Then when we talk about applications, our focus is like in corporate, our focus is time to market. It is not that we make an announcement and the application is still not ready. So our application should be a faster rollout in terms of time to market, and it should be complete. It should be in a way that end-to-end processing should be automated and minimize any manual intervention in giving the service to whosoever is the beneficiary. So the complete automation means that it should not be that the front end is we are submitting a form, a citizen is submitting a form, and on the back end a printout is taken and everything is done manually. So we are slowly eliminating that kind of thing. I'm just putting a different words to it, but actually it is the same thing which Dr. Abhishek Roy and Mr. Sanjay Garden has said, that GPR is the most important thing in the whole e-governance journey. So that's what we have been doing. And then once the applications are in place, to do governance, I'm not talking about e-governance, to do any governance, it is important that the senior government functionaries, all the secretaries and HODs should have reliable data, so which helps them to make decisions and which helps them to make or modify their policies and guidelines so that things may improve. So this data actually helps us to do a lot of GPR as well. So we are talking, or we are our main focus is in terms of connecting applications. So currently we are in the process of designing an enterprise-wide architecture wherein applications will start talking to each other. We are still in the process. Probably after the elections are over, we will come up with our white paper within the government, and we'll try to take it forward. So it's something like if a person has taken some benefit or something from one department, as of now the other department does not know about it. So it is important when we are talking about e-thing and we are connecting the dots. So all these applications should start talking to each other, and we have a complete view and picture. We means the senior functionaries of the state who are into the decision making. So Again, I would like to stress that IT department, or we as the technology personals, we are the enabler of all these things. So we have been working in those areas. Uh, Another important thing I would like to just touch upon: we are doing all these things with a primary focus in our mind that our data should be secure. And this particular summit, obviously it's called SecureIT, so it's very important that I should touch upon that itself also. So in terms of data security, uh, we have plans as soon as our new data center is in place. So we are going for a complete SOC, that is a Security Operations Center within our state data center. And there are various components within the SOC, so we'll be implementing all of those, be it single sign-on or identity access management and all those things. Other than taking all the logs and everything, and checking whether no corruption, hanky panking is being done with the data on the back end. So it is more important, since we are moving from the manual work to the digital kind of environment. So securing the data is our highest priority, and we are committed to look into that. Other than that, I would really like to say that most of my colleagues have already covered a lot of things, so I would not like to go into that. So once again, I would like to thank Elets and your team giving me this opportunity to speak on behalf of Government of Bihar, to share our thoughts on the e-governance. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sunil Kalra, for very aptly breaking the topic of your initiatives in the state of Bihar. Particularly, you touched upon one thing differently, that about the data security, because whatever we talk, whatever we do, unless the data is secure, then of course the entire ecosystem is at a huge risk. And I hope that your SOC it becomes operational as soon as possible. Taking the services to whether it is government to government services or government to citizen services, creating an infrastructure for that, then developing applications, and then finally delivering those online services. So I'm sure that in times to come, we are all in for a very exciting times, because I was mentioning to one of my friends before this panel that during our childhood days, we used to stand in queues for getting online services. At times, we also had to graze the palms of an official there to get some sort of certificate. And now these are all becoming things of the past. And very shortly, the time will come that everything will be there at the click of a mouse, all because of the frontline technical professionals like the NEGD and the SeMT of the Government of India. So with this, we conclude this panel. We have just crossed 5 minutes before over the allotted time. So if you permit, I will have a very short question with each one of you. I will not take much of your time because it's a festive season. I'll start by first question with Mr. From Gujarat. What would be your views regarding removing of the red tapes? Because red tapes are still prevalent there in the system. And of course, you would be agreeing that the more and more we digitize the services, the lesser and lesser the red tape would be there. For example, our Odisha speaker, Mr. Notial, spoke about e-passes, very seamless system wherein one doesn't need to do anything except clicking on the passes. So do you think that red tape will come to an end in a very short future? Mr. Gaden, please.
Basically, the ultimate objective, or rather, I should say, one of the objective of bringing technology interventions in the systems. See, thing is that the moment we will identify the key areas which are more in the government last mile hands, and here if we will automate the process, then definitely whatever you are saying about the because understand that why red tapeism and other things are being getting automatically empower the one side of the chair. just because they have the monopoly status. The moment you break that monopoly status, number one. Number second, the moment you bring the some interface, and then this interface has the audit trail on this thing, and then that you are talking about the last mile audit trail, and then it has the some dashboard at a state level where there is a fear that someone can assemble all the information and then they can after us. So that fear factor will again do this thing. And then some intervention of the processes like online building approvals. The moment in the urban area you open up the online building approvals and you see what will happen to the builder lobby, what will happen to the big shots and this kind of things. The moment you will bring the transparency in the revenue system, revenue means here land records and this kind of thing, and you see things will improvise automatically. So interface, then information everywhere, and its assembly at somewhere at where decisions are taken, and every citizen has some right where he can place, and he has the opportunity to that someone will hear him or not hear, then he can approach further, escalate it and do. This will bring the system in a right place, and automatically fear factor will be there.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. The more the transparency, the lesser the directive, and the fear also, of course. A quick question from Mr. Kalra now, Mr. Sunil Kalra. Mr. Gajen mentioned very elusively about bridging the rural-urban digital divide. So are we forcing any such initiatives there in the state of Bihar also? And if there is, so what is the status of those initiatives? Particularly the infrastructure in the state of Bihar.
Yes, Mr. Mishra, like everyone touched upon it, but I avoided that point. But we have a very robust BharatNet infrastructure already in place. We just about prior to COVID, we have just lit about 5,000 plus panchayats in terms of the BharatNet out of the 8,400 panchayats Bihar has. So it was around 5,200 to be precise. So another thing, when I was talking about reliability in infrastructure, we had stressed upon it with BBNL and the people who are implementing this BharatNet, because we are not gone on the state-led model. We have kept it on the central-led model itself. That whatever fiber you put in Bihar, it should be on a ring model. So in case there is a cut in one of the fiber anywhere, the service should not drop. So in terms of technology, we are ensuring that it is not a star topology or something. It should be a ring topology. So it has been working fine. We just also finished handing over the operations to CSC, and their respective VLEs have taken over, and they are started giving services from those centers. In addition to that, I believe it's done in other states as well. These VLEs are supposed to give Wi-Fi connectivity in that area where they are putting their shop in the panchayats. So these villagers or the people in those rural areas which actually get used to using free Wi-Fi, and not just the mobile one, which probably most of them are using a prepaid mobile, and every time they have to do some recharge of 10 rupees, 50 rupees, and then there is a lot of taxes in that, and it gets over within very soon. So they are getting used to all those things, and obviously the 50% cost as of now has been borne by center and 50% by the state government. So that's how the connectivity in terms of infrastructure is being built up in the rural areas of Bihar.
Great, nice to hear. Nice to hear that version. Mr. Henry, you were mentioning about erection of towers for providing connectivity in the remote places of the state. But whatever connectivity we talk about, or whatever infrastructure we talk about, power is one of the main issue. How is the state of Manipur placed in terms of power?
This is also quite surprising. Actually, I moved from Mumbai after around 20 years, just in the March. And I also felt that one maybe the power system, the how the power system work in Manipur is we work in a prepaid for the last almost 1 year. So we usually have almost zero downtime kind of stuff right now, because the good thing about the Manipur when this Manipur power distribution system has done is once they move to prepaid, the people are by default, if you don't charge it, your electricity bill goes away. So the theft and the problem where people used to doesn't pay the bill, or that option has gone away with this the prepaid option. So I'm here for the last since around February and March beginning. We only have a power cut in once in a while, only when the rainfall is heavily for around half an hour. Otherwise, we have a good electricity system for the last, I think, for the last 1 year. But having said that, into the exterior where we have challenges, we they have wherever there is no connectivity, they have a diesel DC set also in there. But definitely the power is very normalized as compared in especially in the near around in the valley. It's exactly the same in the Mumbai where you don't have a downtime. But I feel that when I moved to Bangalore, you have a power shutdown. It's very frequently in Mumbai, Bangalore, and Pune, which is not, fortunately, not having even for a single time in Manipur. And my when I talk to my friends and my parents, they say that it's not happening for the last 1.5 years, 2 years, 2 years.
Yeah, wonderful,
Power is very good
wonderful. Because
nowadays.
power is a primary requirement for erecting any sort of infrastructure or establishing any type of connectivity infrastructure we are mentioning. So with this, we come to the conclusion of this very interesting topic upon taking governance to the next level, the role of SeMTs, the frontline warriors of India's digital movement. So before I wrap up, I thank you once again, all the esteemed panelists. And before I wrap up, I would request my backend team to present you with the certificate of participation. May I request my backend team? This certificate of participation goes to Mr. Henry Potsangbam. He is the head of SeMT in the state of Manipur. Thank you, Mr. Henry, for putting up so beautifully your version of SeMT in the state of Manipur.
My
Thank you so much. This certificate is for Mr. Sanjay Gaden. He was one of the opening speakers, head of SeMT, Government of Gujarat. Mentioned very aptly about the initiatives, e-governance initiatives in the state of Gujarat. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Sonlal Notial. Special thanks to you, head of SeMT, Government of Odisha. Special thanks to you for coming here, taking out time, coming here and participating, despite the fact that you are not well. And we wish that you recover ASAP.
Thank
And
you.
this certificate goes to Mr. Sunil Kalra, head of SeMT, Government of Bihar. Mr. Kalra beautifully explained the SeMT initiatives in Bihar and how the state is trying to bridge the urban-rural divide. Dr. Abhishek Roy, he was the opening speaker, but he has left in between. So this certificate will email it to him. So with this, we come to an end of 9th edition of Elets SecureIT Summit. Thank you all the panelists, and thank you all the panelists which were there during the course of the day. We'll be compiling all the deliberations in the form of a knowledge report and we'll be sharing with all of you. Thank you so much.